Uh-huh. Click the link and dive right in. AI bites in every spin.
Okay, so get this.
Mm-hmm.
What if you could take like all your trash, right? Like your leftover takeout containers.
Yeah.
That banana peel you forgot about in the back of the fridge.
Right.
All that stuff you'd normally just chuck in the bin.
Yeah.
And you toss it all into a machine.
Okay.
But instead of like compacting it or whatever,
Uh-huh.
out pops a perfectly cooked steak.
Whoa.
Sounds crazy, right?
What's straight out of science fiction.
Totally. But that's the kind of wild idea we're diving into today.
Awesome.
We're taking a deep dive into this book from 1995.
Okay.
It's called Pasted Text.
1995.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a bit older, but super relevant to what we're talking about.
Gotcha.
So this book, it's all about nanotechnology and its potential.
I've heard a little bit about nanotech, but I'm definitely no expert.
Well, the basic idea is like manipulating matter at the atomic level.
Okay.
Like imagine building things from the ground up, atom by atom.
Wow.
Our mission today is to figure out how realistic that steak from trash scenario actually is.
Sounds like a challenge.
It is, but the cool thing is this book isn't just some wild fantasy.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually based on theories from real scientific pioneers.
Like who?
Like Richard Feynman and Eric Drexler. Have you heard of them?
Oh, yeah. Definitely Feynman's a legend.
Right. So Pasted Text basically lays out this almost magical future where we can rearrange atoms and molecules however we want.
So like building with Legos, but on a super tiny scale.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing stuff.
It is. And that's where this whole idea of complete control over matter comes in.
Right. And the meat machine that we were talking about before.
Yeah, the steak making machine.
Exactly. That's just one example the book uses to explain the concept. Okay, so let's break down this meat machine thing.
All right, let's do it.
Because honestly, I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around it.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild idea.
It is. I mean, throwing trash in one end and getting a steak out the other.
It sounds like something out of a cartoon.
Totally.
So in the book, they describe it as this appliance, maybe like the size of an old-fashioned washing machine.
I can picture that.
And it's connected to your house by what they call a Feynman tube.
A Feynman tube. What is that?
Well, the tube itself is fictional,
Okay.
but it's meant to represent this idea of transporting raw materials at the atomic level.
So basically, you feed your trash into the machine through this tube.
Right, and inside the machine, these microscopic robots get to work.
Microscopic robots? What are those called?
They call them assemblers.
Assemblers. Hold on. So we're talking tiny robots rearranging atoms.
Yep, that's the basic idea.
That's when it starts to feel like Star Trek or something.
I know, right?
But how could something so small actually build something as complex as a steak?
It's definitely mind-boggling.
It is.
So the book dives into some pretty complicated theoretical science to explain it.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Essentially, these assemblers would need to be programmed with incredibly precise instructions.
Like a blueprint, but for molecules.
Exactly. And they'd use those instructions to manipulate individual atoms and molecules.
And then build the steak from the ground up.
Or anything else, for that matter.
Wow, that's incredible.
Right. The possibilities are endless.
But hold on a sec. A steak isn't just atoms and molecules, right?
You're right. What about the cells and tissues and all that?
Definitely.
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
These assemblers are like specialized enzymes in your body.
Like the things that help us digest food and stuff.
Exactly, but on a much, much smaller scale.
Okay.
And they would have to work together in a really coordinated way
To do what?
to assemble not just individual molecules, but entire structures.
Like building a house brick by brick.
Yeah, kind of. It's almost like 3D printing, but at the atomic level.
Wow, so they're building the cells and tissues of the steak layer by layer.
That's the idea.
Now it's starting to make sense.
Good. I'm glad.
And I'm starting to see how this could be used for more than just making food.
Absolutely.
Like the book keeps saying that nanotechnology could potentially create any substance.
As long as it's allowed by the laws of nature, of course.
All right, so we're talking about building anything from like ultra-strong materials to new medicines.
Exactly. And the meat machine.
Yeah.
It's really just a way to show the huge scope of what nanotechnology could do.
Okay, so imagine building skyscrapers from sand or creating clean energy from pollution.
Or even crafting custom design organisms, like the book suggests.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Mine too.
But let's be realistic for a second. Is any of this actually possible?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. Are meat machines and atom-building robots something we could see in our lifetime?
Well, pasted text definitely paints a futuristic picture.
It does.
But it's important to remember that it was written back in 1995.
That's true.
Nanotechnology has come a long way since then.
Yeah, we're already seeing some pretty cool applications.
Right, like targeted drug delivery systems and advanced materials.
So we're not quite at the steak from trash stage yet,
Not yet.
but the basic principles are there.
Exactly. And even though we might never have Feynman tubes delivering atoms to our houses, the core concepts from the book are actually driving real scientific progress.
That's really exciting.
It is. The possibilities are truly mind-blowing.
This whole deep dive has been a wild ride.
I agree.
Pasted text really pushes the boundaries of what we think is possible.
It does.
It makes you wonder what incredible inventions might be just around the corner.
It really does. It makes you
Go
think,
on.
if we could actually control matter at the atomic level, what would we create?
What problems could we solve?
Exactly what new challenges might we face?
It's a future full of potential.
And pasted text gives us this captivating glimpse into what that future might hold.
It definitely does. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
Your problem's been fascinating.
Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Click the link and dive right in. AI bites in every spin.